Welcome to Family Gems, episode number 4, Additional Resources. So today I'm going to go over quite a bit of resources for you to find in your quest for family history. So I'm going to go over a bunch of different links, give you some examples, and describe what these resources are so that you can know where you can look for different types of things that you're looking for in your family. So first of all, you have the Gospel Library app, of course, and within there you have library, handbooks and callings, Warden Branch callings, temple and family history. So for those who are church members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, this is a good resource to kind of give you an idea. For anyone else, just going to continue on for the rest of the resources. We have FamilySearch.org, one of the largest public family trees in the world that is in one complete tree, whereas things like Ancestry is a lot of different people creating their own trees, and you have to merge and match and sort through them. You have the Family Tree mobile app, FamilySearch.org, and there's the link there. We have partner sites that Family Search partners with, such as Ancestry.com and MyHeritage.com. For those who are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we partner with them, and you get free access. Normally it costs lots of money, but you get that for free from Ancestry and MyHeritage. They also partner with other websites like FindMyPast.com and some others. DNA Tools, no serious researcher who's looking for their family would neglect to use this very important tool of DNA. So as mentioned in other videos, some of the top sites are Ancestry. It's the largest autosomal DNA database in the world, so I always recommend you start there. MyHeritage.com, 23andMe, Family Tree DNA. Those are the primary testing sites I'd recommend. GEDmatch, you can export your results from other sites and then import them there. GEDmatch is more of a matching service versus a DNA testing place. Also, I would highly recommend watching or attending in person or online the RootsTech Family History Conference. It's the largest genealogical conference in the world dealing with family history in Temple. From 2024, they had over 232 countries and territories participated, 4 million people online and in person, 500,000 participants viewed, 5.9 million ancestral relationships. So it's quite a big conference. They also have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/@FamilySearch, where they have a wide variety of videos and resources there. There's also videos from the church where you can learn about family history in Temple. There's BYU Relative Race, and I'll explain about that in a moment, what it is, but it's definitely a fun and engaging show to get people interested. And for those who have broken family relationships or don't know any of their family relationships, this is a good place to see how other people have done it, how they heal their relationships, and it's actually very cathartic. It can help you heal and move and grow on. Pazilla.org. It's a large graphical representation of your tree. Helps you easily find missing temple work. They have a paid and a free version. The free version's pretty good. The paid version just makes it a little bit easier to use in terms of clicking, less clicks, and helping you find temple work a little bit easier. But it does link with your existing Family Search account. It will do concentric rings and ancestors going back 7 to 15 generations. It helps you really easily see holes. And then you can pick an ancestor and you can find descendants and go forward that way. So here's what it looks like. You log in, they give you a little dialog box that say, do you give permission to connect to your Family Search account? If you allow it, then you can be shown here as the green, and then it gives you this little fan chart with dots. Now the dots may not look that good or that interesting, but on the left you have your father's side, on the right your mother's side, but you can hover over and you can click descendants or ancestors or view in Family Search tree. It gives you the ID. And so here's an example of this one particular line. You can see this Jesse Hyatt. You can click on him, and then you can look at all his descendants. And this is really interesting because, you kind of really see a circle, but it's a circle of like the first level of relationships. Then the second would be the grandchildren. And then by the time you get to the great-grandchildren, you can see the circle forming, and then the great-great-grandchildren. And so there's different color codes here for each one. It'll show you like different colors, like had descendants, didn't, died before age 20, that sort of thing. And you can click on people who had no descendants who didn't marry or died young, and you can kind of see these holes. Gives you a real easy graphical way to research. Now, if I were to click on this Jesse and click descendants, then you can go in the Jesse tree, you can click on descendants, and you can do the descendancy view. He had 11 children, and then you can look for green temple icons like, hey, maybe these people need their temple work, or maybe there's missing information. And so this is a descendancy view of him, and you can click and you can open these arrows, open up descendants down till you get to the living people. And then you can see the little icons. It's green for available or needs information or in progress, portraits, and you can filter and go 4 or 5 generations and then click and open them up. So it's a really easy way to do temple work through Mozilla, or you can just go to Family Search and do it this way, or you can combine the two to really easily find areas to do temple work, like this one is a green temple icon. Okay, relative race. I mentioned that earlier. It's a really fun and engaging show where you see people for the first time meet their relatives, whether it's a father, a mother, brother, sister, uncle, aunt. It's really interesting. The former ESPN sports broadcaster Dan Debenham hosts this fun and amazing race type of format show based on the family DNA theme. I think they have more than 16 now, but around 16 seasons or more. Have tissue nearby. It's a real tearjerker of a show. So family history really comes to life in this exciting reality competition series hosted by Dan Debenham. 4 teams compete in a 10-day cross-country road trip to find their long-lost relatives and win a $50,000 grand prize. Every day on the race is filled with twists, turns, and life-changing reunions. Only one team can win, but each team gains something far more valuable than money: the knowledge of who they are and the joy of finding their family. So this is definitely worth your time watching. byutv.org/relative race. I'd highly recommend it. Also, the church did produce a podcast called Extreme Genes, and their tag was "Shake the family tree and see where the nuts fall out." It's kind of funny. But their website, extremegenes.com, they had it on podcast through a wide variety of distribution mechanisms, all the way from their website to Spotify, the church website. You can also get it on Apple Podcasts from 2018 to 2024, and pre-2018 you can also get it as well. So there's another thing to look at. They give you all kinds of topics, histories, family lore, and just funny stories. It's just really engaging. Ordinances Ready. So I mentioned this a little bit in maybe my other videos, but Ordinances Ready is a real great way to just click and scan and print ordinances. It only takes you like 5 minutes, literally. You can park in the temple, get out of your car, push Ordinances Ready, a couple clicks, tell it what ordinance you want gender. It'll pick 5 or 2 or 3 depending on the ordinance. And then you can scan the QR code right at the temple office. You don't even have to have a printer. But if you do have a printer, you can do it that way at home if you want. But it's a real easy way to do it. It's available for both Android and iOS, Apple. As far as DNA goes, I'm going to go over quickly some of the top testing sites I do recommend. FamilySearch.org/DNA-testing gives you a good place to start to kind of learn. It starts off basic, and as you click more, you have to explore and click a little bit further, but you can get more detail if you want. I'm going to kind of give it to you all in one on this slide here. So the top DNA testing sites, Ancestry.com has well over 30 million autosomal DNA tests. They specialize in ancestry, but health and genetic information is being offered and developed too. There's traits and other things. They are the largest site in the world, so it's like the saying goes, if you're fishing for fish, go fish in the biggest pond. You're going to find the most fish, right? If you don't find it there, I recommend going to these other sites. And I always recommend, if you have time and money, to just go to the other sites as well. Ancestry is one of those sites that's pay to play. You have to pay to get in. 23andMe, also, you have to pay to get in. They have over 12 million tests. They specialize in health, but they also have ancestry connections. They did go bankrupt and reorganize. They're still in operation, so they are a good site to go to as the second largest autosomal DNA site in the world. MyHeritage.com, 4.5 million tests. It might even be bigger now. They were started by a company in Israel, I believe, to trace Jewish ancestry. and others. A lot of people in Europe go there to test. So if you're looking for any kind of European connection, or even if you aren't, if you just want to find out, you will find people there that you won't find elsewhere. I had a person once contacted me and said, "Hey, I'm related to you, and it looks like we're third, fourth cousins. I don't know who my dad is. I know he was a service member in France, and then he left. Do you know anything about him?" And I was able to kind of like figure out probably who this person was, but I didn't know anymore. But I was able to provide them with some information. And there's things like that you won't find unless you do a DNA test, because there may not be records of it. They call them NPEs, non-paternal events, like an adoption or something like that. Okay, Family Tree DNA, they have 1.4 million tests, familytreedna.com. They're one of the few sites that does all three types of DNA tests. Autosomal, which is kind of like the middle of your tree. The Y-DNA, the paternal fatherly line, your surname. They call it your patrilineal, patria meaning father, and line, your father's father's father. It's only the top edge of your tree if you're looking at a pedigree, laying it on its side in portrait mode. The mtDNA is mitochondria DNA. It's your maternal matrilineal line, your mother's mother's mother. If you take a pedigree chart and lay it on its side, it's the bottom edge of your tree. Both men and women can do mtDNA, but since Y chromosome is only found in males, only the males can do the Y-DNA test. Anyone else can do the autosomal or the mtDNA. Also, Family Tree DNA, they do partner with Genie.com to overlay the DNA and family tree data. It's the only site that does it like that for free. They also offer a LE opt-out, a law enforcement opt-out. So if you're concerned about your privacy, you can opt out, and law enforcement won't have access to it. Then livingdna.com, they're a newer company. They do 3 tests all in one. They do the autosomal Y-DNA and mtDNA, but they use a different DNA chipset, so they're not compatible with all the other sites. It's very detailed and precise Y-DNA and mtDNA haplogroups. They partner with Find My Past. They're based in England, UK. They specialize in British Isles and European heritage. They are still around. They're just a really smaller company. You won't get as many matches there. It's kind of an interesting startup. I haven't seen them at the booths on in RootsTech in the past couple of years. I could be wrong on that, but they showed up for a while when they're first getting started, but they're just kind of a low profile getting started. I don't know how long they're going to be around, but that is another site to consider. GEDmatch, they have 1 million tests. They don't offer testing services. You can only upload your data and then do matching for free. They do offer a law enforcement opt-out mechanism as well. Ancestry.com, you can export your DNA and import it for free in GEDmatch. MyHeritage does offer a import option, as does Family Tree DNA. So those are some things to consider. So again, for just the Y-DNA, familytreedna.com, they're the largest Y-DNA and mtDNA database in the world. I recommend going there. For anything that's not autosomal, go there as well, but don't use it as your primary site. And 23andMe does do some Y-DNA as well as living DNA, but like I said, the first one I'd recommend is Family Tree DNA. For mtDNA, again, Family Tree DNA is the largest mitochondrial mtDNA site in the world. 23andMe and Living DNA does offer some, but you're just not going to get as much as you will on Family Tree DNA. And then autosomal, Family Tree DNA does that as well. Ancestry DNA, as I mentioned, they're like the top site I'd recommend. There's also a wikitree.com. They have 15 million profiles, 3.3 million with DNA test connections. So if you're looking for DNA test connections, Wikitree is also a good way to do it. Their site is a little bit slow, not as easy to use, and there's a lot of click here and wait for a user to respond before you merge. And so that really slows things down. But if you're looking for the Y-DNA in connection with the pedigree, it's a great place to go. DNA Painter, started by Johnny Pearl. I've met him at RootsTech. Really nice guy, does really wonderful presentations. Highly recommend this website, and some of the tools there are just bar none. They're just so great. So what they offer started with DNA Painter. The idea is you paint your chromosome and you map it and you figure out which genes and chromosomes you inherited from which ancestor. So which genes did you get chromosome 10 from? Was it your mom or your dad, and you can or your great grandpa or your great paternal or maternal, and you can kind of sort these through, which is really kind of fun. And it's very useful when you're determining, things like you had a genetic condition for X, Y, or Z, which ancestor did I likely get it from? And I've actually had people contact me saying, hey, I've got this rare genetic condition. I see you have a match and I do. And I want to know what you have in this position on this chromosome. And I was like, well, this is what I have. And he's like, okay, I guess it's not from your side of the family. It's from the other side. And so it can help you solve health problems as well. They also have a tool called the What Are the Odds tool, which is really wonderful. I've used it to help adoptive or unknown parentage cases, and it'll give you percentages and help you map it and trace and identify possibilities of who could be the relative based on centimorgan matches and percentage of DNA and so forth. There's also the Shared Centimorgan Project, which is sort of graphical way of looking at something. You put in percentage of centimorgans, and it will tell you how much, what likelihood it is that you're a first cousin versus a second, or a second cousin half removed, or those sort of things. So it's another tool to use when you're trying to find those puzzles in your tree. So here's what the website looks like. Investigating family mysteries with the What Are the Odds tool. It's really good. Gives you hypotheses. I'll probably have to do another video on that later because it's so good. Mapping segments, that's figuring out what chunks and bits of DNA you got from which ancestor. You can visualize your DNA direct line. I haven't done that, but and then you can find out how you're related using the Shared Centimorgan tool. So here's kind of like their screenshot of mapping your chromosomes. You get different colors. This chromosome 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and you can see these different overlays of where you got each bit of DNA from. And then, in his little blog, they put little ancestor pictures, like this picture in pink might be your great paternal grandmother, and this one might be your great paternal grandfather. And so you can see you got the top or the bottom half of the chromosome from which points. And so it's very useful in helping identify ancestors. Here's the Shared Centimorgan tool project. You put in over here a percentage of DNA or a number, and then you hit enter, and it will tell you what likelihood it is you're going to have which relationships. So, for example, your parent and your children, there's one thing that's 100% guaranteed. You got half from each parent, and you pass on half of your DNA to each child. From there, it's a little bit more random. Like your grandparent, you may have gotten 15 and 35%, but it has to add up to 50 from each grandparent. But it could be 25 and 25. You just don't know because it's random. They call it recombinant DNA. So, and then it has a range. So, like your grandparent, you may have inherited 984 to 2462 centimorgans. So that would be like, from a small percentage, like 10 or 15%, all the way up to 25 or 50 or whatever, 25% or something. So it gives you these ranges of possibilities. It's more nuanced than that because you have things like endogamy, where, say, island populations intermarry for generations. You may not have as much diversity based on the time period and location and other things, but it gives you a good starting place. There is a great website called the DNAgeek.com for information on how to transfer your ancestry DNA and other results from other databases. Again, I would choose Ancestry for DNA tests because they have the largest test in the world, 30 million people, and then transfer the results to other sites to get more matches. And they have an explanation of the database sizes on dnageek.com/DNA-tests. Like I mentioned, the church does partner with free sites to get free access, like Ancestry, MyHeritage, GeniaNet, and others. So you can go and look at the member subscription sites, click on it, and look through the different partners that they have and what you can get access to. So another thing, as you're researching, you'll want to investigate grave sites. The two that I recommend is findagrave.com and billiongraves.com. Now, findagrave.com is larger in terms of number of records, but they don't have GPS locations. They have the ability to put them in, but most people don't. So it has some in there, but very few. Billiongraves.com, their idea is to get to 1 billion graves. I don't think they're there yet, but they want to GPS tag with your smartphone to pinpoint exact locations within a graveyard. You go in, you take pictures of the gravestones. You can just go click, 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 and then you can go back home and index them later or have someone else index it for you. So We did this with our son when he was like 5. And my wife joked, hey, he's close to the ground because he's got small legs and he's short. And he just loved, he'd go through and take pictures and just walk along the rows and just click, 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 click. And then I would do it or others would do it. And it's a great way to really rapidly get grave sites and locations up there. And they do have the ability to map people with relationships. Find a Grave is really good at this. And Find a Grave will let you upload up to 5 pictures. A lot of times you'll find death records or pictures or photos or births or marriages or things. So I'd highly recommend Find a Grave. I think they were bought out by Ancestry, so they're like a subsidiary, but it's definitely a great place to go to. And of course, Ancestry, one of the top sites after Family Search for searching for your ancestors. They have many record collections that Family Search doesn't have, and vice versa. So, for example, they have original Quaker records and many other types. Another thing you might consider doing is link a Facebook account to build a family tree using your Facebook account and your relationship settings in Facebook. They used to have that ability on Ancestry. I don't know if they still do, but then there's an article on how to share your DNA results with people once you do take a DNA test on Ancestry. If you are looking for matches in people, I'd highly recommend it. Some people are just in there to find their ethnicity, like what percent Italian and German and Greek and whatever I am. Other people are there to do more research or a little of both. I recommend doing both. So thank you for listening to this episode. Hope you've enjoyed it, and join me for the next one later on. Goodbye.